Okay, so people often ask about getting their fish onto feeding flake. Now, it can be quite hard to wean fish onto flake. The easiest way to do this is in the morning feed, when you put the frozen food in, put the flake in a few minutes before the frozen goes in, like while the frozen is defrosting. Start with a small amount of flake, and then hopefully the fish will be at hungriest at that point of day, and they'll have a little experimental nibble on the flake while they wait for the frozen. It can be quite a long, slow process though, and some fish will never take flake. So don't ever rely on something eating flake if at all possible, and bear in mind that you should always do a minimum of 2 feeds a day of frozen, one in the morning, one in the evening is an absolute minimum, preferably much more than that. So although we do recommend feeding flake for some grazing fish, that is as well as the frozen feed, and it doesn't count as a feed really in its own right. If you can get your fish onto flake, it can be quite handy if you go on a holiday, for example, because you can put it on auto feeder, which will go up to 6 feeds a day if you use the Eheim one, which can be quite useful. Also, if you've got fast growing fish or fish that naturally graze in the wild, such as tangs, you can put the flake on an auto feeder for 6 feeds a day, and then feed frozen in the morning and frozen in the evening on top of that. That's what I used to do on my home tank when I had a shoulder eating tangs in there, and that worked quite well. But you do have to accept that not everything will accept flake. The flake we use in store is primarily Ocean Nutrition Formula 2 flake. I've tested just about every flake on the market, and I found that to be the best one for the vast majority of fish. Also check out our other videos with other feeding tips.